Hey everybody, and welcome back. Just wanted to share a little bit of a victory for the truth movement with you today. At least for the segment of us that's trying to wake people up to the language of gematria. Last month, this new article on a website called Rational Wiki popped up, called New Gematria. And now this is in addition to an article that they already have called just Gematria. And this says that you can add up the letters in the alphabetic order and get something meaningful out of it. So as we see here, simple equals 74 using the alphabetic order, just assigning a number to each letter relative to its position in the alphabet. English equals 74. Gematria 74. Gematria originated as a Jewish practice, which is 74. This is coded into a lot. You know, Jesus is 74. He died on the cross. They called him the Messiah. You can go on and on. So they're willing to acknowledge that, but they're calling this a mutant form of gematria. They're calling Pythagorean gematria mutant. They're calling the reverse alphabetical order mutations. Really, this is just an expansion on the study, as we all know. So we've already gotten numbers changed on Google, on Wikipedia. You know, clearly this says that we're having an effect on the overall consciousness of the public. And to me, this is yet another example of this. This website, Rational Wiki, exists for the sole purpose of discrediting conspiracy theories, from what I can tell. At least that's what I've seen on it. And it's pretty clear what tactics they use. Now, this is a website that understands that most people are pretty dumb, that they're not actually really good critical thinkers. So they use psychological tactics in here. Like, it only took them the second sentence to call us cranks for sharing this practice. You know, they can go ahead and share the alphabetical order, but when we start pointing out alignments in the reduction cipher, all of a sudden, we're crazy. Honestly, I would like to find out what their conspiracy theory is for why Zach Hubbard has lost 10 or 11 YouTube channels now. You know, why is it that I put out this calculator, he starts sharing work in it, the work is growing, it's getting popular, and then he loses his channel? Well, if gematria is bogus, if new gematria is a lie and means nothing, then why is it being censored? We're not calling for violence. We're not calling for death. We just want people to have knowledge, and it's being censored. So why? And this continues just in the opening paragraph. This ends with saying that we make up bullshit as we go along. Well, I'll tell you what's bullshit. It's sites called Rational Wiki, appealing to what they think is the rational side of the brain. People don't realize the mind control tactics being used in here. Now, back in February of last year, at the end of that month, I posted a video called Signs of Time. And virtually every decode I put up on my channel in the 100 or so videos I've made in the past year have all talked about the numbers that I discussed in that video. So there's not much making up of anything in here. And I'm just going to touch on a couple of these topics and explain to you how they're misleading people. So what they're implying here is that we invented satanic gematria, that someone who was practicing gematria decided to invent this cipher, you know, to come up with more coincidences, which is so ridiculous. But that's essentially what it's claiming. And it even says it's regarded as a joke cipher name by those that use it. So I don't know how that would be the case. Let's look at satanic gematria. And what the article does mention is that satanic gematria equals 666 in that cipher, right? So that's mentioned here. But what they fail to mention, which may seem interesting to someone who's new to the study, is that this cipher begins on the number 36. And the 36th triangular number, meaning if you add every number, 1 through 36, it sums to 666, as seen by the properties there. But they leave that fact out and just expect you to think that this is bogus. It touches on the capital letter ciphers. It says Frank Baconis is a joke. Francis Bacon used to sign his art pieces sometimes as Frank Baconis. So when we finally discovered another cipher that takes capital letters into account, it's the name that I gave it. That's my name. I came to this study from the outside. I'm not an insider, so I don't know what this cipher is really called. All right, so we had to come up with something. And then they do this a lot too, where they'll cross out a word and then put something else. So what they like to do is that they like to imply that we're making up ciphers. A manufactured cipher, but they cross it out and say discovered. And then it says we created it, and then it says discovered. Well, what this doesn't mention is that in Hebrew, part of the base 10 ciphers are the mathematical ciphers: square numbers, triangular numbers, and primes. So, yeah, discovered here is the correct term. And I like how they say the NWO adores prime numbers. They do. They really do. So, at least they got a couple things right here. One thing they did a lot of here, they paid really close attention to, is taking all these words that have opposite meanings but the same gematria. And I'm assuming they're using just one of the 4 base ciphers. Now, it's possible in one of my past videos I've said the entire language is coded by the numbers. I don't really believe that to be the case, but some key components of the language absolutely are, and it has to do with the mathematics of the circle. In gematria, mathematics of the circle sums to 666 in Jewish gematria. This is the cipher that uses the old original Latin alphabet with the English characters at the end. And in this cipher, it sums to 666, the number of the beast. Furthermore, if you multiply 6 times 6 times 6, you get 216. That's what you get in the ordinal value of mathematics of the circle. Not to mention the reduction value of 99. When you add these numbers, it's 18, just like 666. So, not doing anything playing with numbers, just using the same numerology methods as always. The other long part of this is where it says that we're phrase shopping. And granted, there are several terms associated with Freemasonry. You got Freemasonry, Scottish Rite of Freemasonry, and Ancient Accepted Scottish Rite of Freemasonry. This comes up with a whole lot more. Remember, it's never just one match that I'm showing to Masonry. It's across several ciphers, across several terms they do this. So, this is an easy argument against gematria to just say that we're looking for phrases, but when you pay attention to the work, follow along and see that these are the same numbers we're talking about each time. So I'm going to link this page down below, and you can read it yourself and see how it's just a hit piece trying to pull people away from the study of gematria and numerology, because they realize how dangerous this is. If people start to pick up and realize this, they might get an idea of how big the conspiracy truly is. And you have this bullshit website posing as a .org trying to bump people off of their otherwise rational beliefs. And they even have a little hall of fame here where they pick out things that they think were stupid that we decoded. And here's an example of that too. Like it says, here's what you do when the stats line doesn't cooperate with your prediction, right? So back on December 30th, I made a tweet when LeBron James played. It was his 33rd birthday. Of course, in gematria, LeBron sums to 33 reverse, just like James. Again, it's usually not just one word, it's multiple words. Anyway, I said, hey, I can't wait to see what numbers got coded into your stats for that night. Well, if you look back at that game, there weren't really any numbers that stood out. And why would they make him score 33 points and make it that obvious, right? So what they did is they waited a week. 7 days after his birthday, he played against the Orlando Magic. Magic equals 33 using the alphabetic order. That's the cipher that is approved by Irrational Wiki per their own page right here talking about simple English gematria. And it was 1 week later. 1 week equals 33. 7 days equals 33. And then he scored 33 points against the Magic 33. So, gematria is practiced in a way that's not terribly obvious. If we could just sit here with one cipher and go through and show how it's coded, that would be too simple. That would be too transparent. They're not going to make it that easy. But by having 4 main ciphers and then your larger extended ciphers, they can claim plausible deniability and say, oh, it's just all coincidence. You got all these numbers. And this is something the occult does quite frequently. You may recall that on January 31st, we had a lunar eclipse. Lunar equals 33. Eclipse equals 33. And you had the Empire State Building doing a little light show and in tribute to the Phantom of the Opera. Of course, the word the equals 33, phantom equals 33, and this was 1 week or 7 days before the lunar eclipse. And I'm going to link this post down below too, so you can see a perfect example of how gematria is used. It doesn't necessarily mean that all the numbers in the dictionary are coded accordingly. It just means that they like to take entities that have the same gematria and overlap them in rituals. So I'm going to link to this post, this rational wiki page below. You can look at it for yourself and see how ridiculous it is. Again, this is catered for stupid people. They give them some, a little bit of humor so that they can chuckle, build a little trust. But there's so much here that they leave out. Again, I'd be willing to debate anybody who's willing to write an article like this and just lay waste to them. But of course, that's not going to happen because they hope that people find this page first, think it's ridiculous, and then never look at it again. And that's why we need you, the viewer, to help raise awareness of the practice of gematria, numerology, anything that we just need more people to speak up because we're going up against this machine that can say whatever they want, they can report whatever they want, and as far as everyone else is concerned, it's truth. So, still a long battle to fight, but we're definitely putting dents in the armor. Thanks for watching, Truth Seeker. God bless and have a good one.